And most would say that if you're a program that's going through that transition phase from Division II to Division I, that the staff that's in place, they're probably the sacrificial lambs. But I think we were just naive enough to know that it was an opportunity, and we did very well with it. I think it helped us that we didn't know what to expect and how hard it would be, and we were able to elevate and get some good wins.
Welcome to the DMF podcast, where you'll find great conversations with interesting people who have been called to serve. We'll meet impactful charities, dive deep into pressing health topics, and learn from servant leaders working to see, be, and spread light. At the end of each episode, we hope you're inspired to realize your own unlimited potential to change the world for the better. Join us as we work to create a region of the healthiest, most purpose-driven people on the planet. Welcome to the DMF Podcast's Lead with Light series, hosted by me, Pastor Devlin Brooks, the CEO of Churches United. In the Lead with Light series, we explore the program's curriculum, talking with vibrant leaders who are demonstrating the very principles we're teaching, and introducing you to a variety of opportunities to take advantage of this dynamic leadership program. In this episode, we visited with Minnesota State University Moorhead men's basketball coach Jason Kemp, who demonstrates that maybe you can go home again as he embarks on his first season as the Dragons head coach. Already an established assistant coach at a Big Ten basketball program, some might think Coach Kemp is crazy to forgo the bright lights of premier Division I basketball to return to little old MSUM. But I think Coach Kemp is crazy like a fox for trading in the big dollars and high drama for an unsung program like the Dragons. Let's find out why as we dig in. Coach Kemp, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, give us the elevator speech.
Sure.
Who you are and why I've invited you today.
Sure. Well, obviously, appreciate you having me, Jason Kemp. I'm the new head basketball coach at MSUM. However, I am familiar and old face to the Fargo-Moorhead area as I was formerly an assistant at MSUM. It was the first job I had out of college, and I spent 8 years across the river at North Dakota State University as well. So familiar territory that we're walking back into and excited to be back. Originally a native of Madison, Wisconsin. I played basketball at the University of Wisconsin La Crosse, where I graduated from undergrad, and then went on a long 20-year journey around the country coaching basketball at institutions of all different types. I was at North Dakota State, obviously, was at the University of Toledo and Ohio University, so going from a very urban campus to a very rural campus, town of 20,000, where we were there for 5 years in Athens, Ohio. Then to William & Mary, distinguished public Ivy League, where 5 U.S. presidents went to school, and so that was an interesting and fun experience. And then back to the University of Minnesota, the big time, in the Big Ten with the Golden Gophers for 4 years, and now full circle back where it started as a head coach of the Dragons, which I'm very excited about.
This is so exciting. I have so many questions for you.
Sure.
So first of all, I just have to share this because if I didn't, I would be in trouble when I got home. My wife is an uber Dragons basketball fan,
Sure.
So when we come this winter and you hear the crazy 5'2" lady behind you from the stands, just know that I'm there with her.
As long as she's yelling at them.
Yeah.
Not us. We're good.
So we're excited. Welcome.
Yeah.
So obviously with Lead with Light, we talk a lot about leadership. You can't be a coach without leadership, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So such a wonderful trajectory in your coaching career. And apologize for my, I just can't recollect, but when you were with NDSU, had they made the Division I transfer yet?
The year I went, so I was at MSUM in 2004, 2005. The conclusion of that season, Tim Miles added another assistant spot, kept his GA spot. So I came over there at a time where they were still technically Division II and we're trying to figure that out. And I was sitting in my office and he came down there one day in late May and was like, hey, we got to go to the Alumni Center. We're going Division I. So I came in thinking we were Division II, and lo and behold, I just was thrusted into this new world of Division I basketball where I stayed for 20 years.
What an amazing learning experience to come through that into the Division I level.
Yeah. And most would say that if you're a program that's going through that transition phase from Division II to Division I, that the staff that's in place, they're probably the sacrificial lambs. But I think we were just naive enough to know that it was an opportunity, and we did very well with it. I think it helped us that we didn't know what to expect and how hard it would be, and we were able to elevate and get some good wins. And 2 years later, Coach Miles was gone to Colorado State, and I was on as an assistant coach with Saul Phillips. So,
sometimes a little naivete doesn't hurt, does it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, naive people with a passion, right?
It's hard to fear something that you don't really understand.
Well, welcome back to town. We're so excited and so fortunate to have a coach with your pedigree look at the program and say, I want to be back there. So thanks for giving us kind of that trajectory of where you have went in your program. You got to the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming MSUM calls you when there's an opening.
Sure.
And I think a very natural question for a lot of people were like, you spent 20 years in this trajectory to get to the Big Ten, and then you thought, I'm going to go back home to a Division II basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that an unorthodox decision, or like,
absolutely?
Talk us through that.
Yeah. I had options, and I say that not to diminish the opportunity that's in front of me, because I think this is the biggest thing I've ever done. But I say that to say that the value in being able to be a leader and do your own thing and take all the things you've learned from all the people you've been around and actually put them into motion, I think that was, at this point in my career, an invaluable opportunity. And so that, more than anything, and I interviewed at 2 SEC schools and still thought that MSUM was the place I wanted to be. I think this is a great opportunity.
And I think we should state also, so if you're not familiar with MSUM men's basketball, like the program has had a history of success. I mean, you're not walking into a Division II school that's at the bottom, and you're walking into a pedigreed program. That had to be some kind of incentive.
Correct. We have 5 Division I transfers on our team, 4 of which we brought in this summer through the transfer portal. And my first message to them was, if you think this is going to be easy, just so you know, there's a handful, tons of Division I schools I would rather play against than to have to go play at Mankato or at Duluth or at Wayne State. This is a really, really good basketball conference. And I don't think they're going to be able to truly grasp that until they actually feel it. And I said, we all got to forget where we were and understand that this is going to be the biggest thing you've ever done. It is.
Yeah, and I mean, you have resting on your shoulders. I mean, there's national tournament appearances from MSUM. So, I mean, you're not kidding when you talk to these transfers that this isn't just another Division II school.
No. Yeah, I think you've got – and I was here at a time where, there were 4 or 5 scholarships and things were a little harder to manage. And I think the coaches that were here at the time did a phenomenal job with what they had. But we're now in an era where a lot of our programs are, and I should say some of our programs are fully funded. But there's a lot more success across the board, and it's winning is expected, and so I think I wouldn't have it any other way. It's one of the reasons that this was such an attractive opportunity. So those expectations, I think it's good to have those. It means you're supposed to win.
So for those that might not be as diehard of sports fans, right? Can you talk just a little bit, just to set the scene, kind of the logistical differences from that elite tier 1, Division 1 to Division 2? Because if you don't follow college sports, you might be unaware that, there's big differences.
Yeah. I'll start with just the resources, the difference in resources. For instance, at a place like the University of Minnesota, we traveled on private jets. We stayed at the W Hotel. We had as many meals as you could ever imagine on the road, and nothing was ever out of pocket. It was in a world of abundance, right? Whereas at small college, Division II, I played Division III at University of Wisconsin La Crosse. You travel by bus. There's this shared experience of just staying together, and we don't have much, but we're doing this for the love of the game. Now at MSUM, fortunately, I would say we are the haves in relation to most Division II schools. We do have a lot of resources, and we're thankful for our donors and what's provided. But there is a major gap when you start to look at those Power 5 conference teams and what we're able to provide for our kids. So I would say too that there also is the rewarding side of being at this level where money and resources and things like that aren't everything. And so there's that willingness, there's that vigor and passion that these student athletes have at this level that's just a little bit different than at that higher level.
So for those, again, that maybe not, follow college sports all that regularly and have this idea of the luxury that the bigger colleges, like playing Division II basketball with the schedule that you guys have to compile, that's a grind on those kids.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit that away travel and the back-to-backs, this is not a life of luxury.
Yeah. Typical travel in the Big Ten, you would, if it's an away game, you'd practice that morning, hop on, private jet, fly to the city you were going to play at. You would do shoot around that next morning, play the game that night. Right after the game, you hop back on the plane, meal on the plane, and you fly back. And so they could be they're in a situation where they'll miss a day of class, but they can be back in their bed. You play a 7 p.m. tip at Maryland, you gain an hour back coming back to Minneapolis, and you can be in your bed watching your cell phone Sports Center at midnight. Whereas here, if you play a Friday, Saturday, you're leaving on Thursday, you're playing on Friday, you're driving to the next city after the game, you're playing on Saturday, and you're driving back. And so the time gone, the time on the road, it's a lot more challenging at the Division II level. However, I think it's just like anything. Your reality is your reality, and you adapt to it, and you learn to embrace it and be happy with it. And if you have an understanding that there's somebody out there that it's harder than it is for me, I think that's the mindset of the Division II athlete.
Difference between coaching a true Division II athlete, the transfers out of D1, I think, they had a different experience first. They're coming, the true D2 student athlete who probably came out of high school understanding that they weren't going to get picked up at a D1 school, but they love the game. They still want to, like, the differences between coaching that student versus being at the U.
Yeah. The higher you go up, the harder it is to fight those self-affirming elements of how is this making me better? What am I getting out of this? How are the people around me going to impact my success? I think that at the Division II level, they come in thinking more along the lines of just how can we as a unit or as a group or as a team win. And I think that's been, for me, refreshing since I've been back. Is like it feels like it used to feel in those early days at NDSU, where there was no NIL and there was no, transfer portal where you could just run away. Like when I played college basketball, if one of my teammates would have came in and said I was transferring, we'd have been like, "What are you doing?" And the next question we would ask is, "How are you even going to tell coach? Like, he's going to kill you." Like that. Yeah. That was how we thought, and it's just not even. If something's not right, you can just be like, "Well, I'll just go somewhere else." And that, I think that's the big difference here. Is yes, that element exists, but not at the catastrophic level it does at that higher level.
Man, I could do an entire hour with you just about the changes to college sports from the time you became a coach to now. Like, that would be an hour conversation in itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the last 5 years, you'd probably, picking your jaw up off the ground, because it's been a seismic shift in how college athletics works. The people now that have injected themselves into the process, I think that's a big piece. We all want to say that the student athlete is the problem because they want all this money, but there's adults sprinkled all around that process that are adding to the problem, and I think that's
and from the earliest ages in these kids' lives.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Jason, you played college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know then you were going to be a coach?
No.
Okay, tell us this story.
Sure. I was going to be a doctor. That was my preferred path. Early on, went as a biology major, and thought all the way through my junior year that was what I was going to do. I'm going to go to medical school, and I didn't know what specialization, but that was my preferred path. And then my junior year at UW River Falls had a massive knee injury.
You did.
I did. Correct. Tore three ligaments, was out for a full calendar year. But in my time out, and I had waited for a long time. I started the first 7 games of my junior year and got hurt. And in my time out, I kind of just organically took on this role of mentor to my teammates, then coach on the floor, to hanging out with the coaches. And at the time, the head coach at UW lacrosse, Stu Engen, he had left and gone to MSUM. And when he left, he said, if you ever decide that coaching is something you want to do, give me a call. I think you'd be good at it. And so that next year I got hurt, and I went through this whole process in my mind. Subconsciously, I wasn't thinking like, oh, well, this I can see how I like it. It just kind of happened. And it was all because of an event, which was me getting injured. And at the end of that year, I was like, maybe it's something I'd be good at. Got to the end of the next year, kind of decided that maybe the doctor thing was going to be a lot, and just kind of developed a passion for coaching and pouring into people, something that I feel I was always good at. And then decided to give Coach Engen a call and see what he had. He said, I've got a $2,000 stipend for you. That's all we can really do. If you want to come on up, you can. I had an opportunity to be a JV coach at a high school in La Crosse, Wisconsin, La Crosse Central High School. Kind of came down to the wire on the decision and ended up packing up and driving up to Moorhead.
$2,000 and 20 below winters. How can you say no to that?
I signed a lease at an apartment on 20th Street in Moorhead for $200 a month.
And when you filled out the application, what did you put down for revenue?
I put 2,000 and somehow I was able to. I mean, they were like, "You got it," but it was good. And I actually, when I came on my interview, me and Chad Marcuson were going to grab some lunch, and we drove by the apartment, and I said, "That's where I lived," and he was like, "Whoa." It's pretty interesting. So, yeah.
You mentioned you came in April before your family came.
Sure.
Did you try to get the same apartment?
No, I don't think my wife would have had that. But my son and my daughter have since drove by, and they were like, "You live there?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, we're gonna appreciate all the things that we're blessed to have."
Different times, right?
Yeah.
So did you play your senior year then? So you came back from your injury, and then you played your senior year.
Came back stronger, yeah. Came back stronger. Yep.
And I imagine in those days the all of the stuff with the medical getting a new season, that was all different back then too. Like there was no chance of you getting your junior year back.
Yeah, the NCAA at the time, they marketed themselves as the governing body of the member colleges and universities. The issue being is that they've never been a governing body. They've just been an organization that people belong to. And the idea that they could say, we are government and you must abide by our rules, that's what kept kids from getting, and I'll say this, they do deserve the money, getting what they deserve for well over 60 years. And so that's been the biggest change, is that the NCAA is really kind of not recognized now as a governing body. They just have bylaws that their members have to kind of follow. And so the dynamic that's been created is that schools that choose to challenge those bylaws are winning in federal courts. Mm-hmm. And so now anytime the NCAA tries to enforce something that a school or a individual doesn't like, they can take it right to court and they can wiggle their way around it. And so it's created a pretty crazy dynamic in college athletics.
So you got here as a grad student assistant, right? Mm-hmm. Again, if you're not familiar with the college sports world, there's a whole thing about being a graduate student assistant, right? What is that life like?
It's great. I think for me, it gave me a specialty. Specifically when I should say my year at MSUM, I learned, I was working for the coach I played for. And we had a ton of young kids in our program at MSUM at the time. And I was able to basically explain and express to them, as someone who had just gone through it, all the struggles, the trials and tribulations that they go through. I was able to articulate those things to them. If we had a hard practice and coach was hard on them, I could articulate that literally as someone who played for him. And so I think they really appreciated that. And then when I got to North Dakota State, I was 22 going on 23, and we had a bunch of 20, 21, 22-year-old players that were my age, and I could still kind of play the game. And so I got to relate to them on the court, and just as someone who could speak their language. I think that was where I kind of learned that the most important piece of coaching is connectivity. If you can relate to someone, right, it's easier to have hard conversations. It's easier to get them to articulate and understand what you need from them to be, for them to be successful. And so I think that was what I learned early on about that being a graduate assistant. It kind of shaped and molded my beliefs as a head coach too.
Do you think there is a good number of fans who forget that oftentimes these are kids that are 18 and 19 and 20 years old?
Yeah, about 95% of them. Coaching is truly, well, and maybe being president of the United States, are truly the only professions in the world where the people in the crowd who are passionate about that institution, that team, act as if they are experts and they've never lived that experience for a day in their life. And it is hard because not only are you trying to figure out the best plan to achieve success and win a game, but you're also asking someone else to execute that plan, and you could look at it like a CEO that's trying to hit their marks and hit their numbers. It's the same thing. But when it comes to performance, it's 18 to 23-year-old kids trying to implement a plan that you put in place to beat somebody who most nights is really good, and so that I think that, I would say most fans they understand it, but they also are passionate, and that's fine too,
If you haven't already, head to BeLight.org to sign up for the monthly Lead with Light newsletter. While you're there, you can also find past editions on the Lead with Light blog and register for upcoming trainings. Also, be on the lookout for the official Lead with Light book, which will be released later this year. And you're doing all of this at the same time as also helping a 19-year-old kid manage a breakup with a girlfriend, or the fact that he is failing science, or there's been, something happened in the family. Like that also falls on you as the coach.
Yeah. And the crazy part about that is every one of those moments, as coaches, we sometimes forget that we're dealing with humans, right? But those moments kind of reduce you back to that place where you're like, I have a responsibility here to another human being. I've got to help them. I've had a lot of those moments where you kind of just, somebody's, a young kid says something to you and they're crying out to you for help, and it's all of a sudden you're just reduced to this place where it's like, am I equipped to deal with this? like that.
Yeah.
You have those moments a lot of times as a coach, for sure. Yeah.
So when you look back to Coach Stu, what were the things that made you follow him here? Like, there had to have been things that very consciously you said, this is why I'm choosing this path.
When he took over, I walked into UW. So first of all, I was going to go to Wisconsin-Platteville. The coach at the time, Hall of Famer Bo Ryan, ended up the coach at Wisconsin. He recruited me. The point person in my recruitment was Greg Gard, who's now the head coach at Wisconsin. And so I committed to those guys, and that spring they left and went to UW-Milwaukee. And so I was just kind of like, well, I don't know where I'm going to go now. So I liked my visit to La Crosse, and so I changed courses and went there instead. I didn't stick with Platteville. And so, little did I know I would meet somebody through that process that would help me start my career in coaching, and Coach Engen was that person. When I got to La Crosse, we were not very good. And as a matter of fact, they had probably about a 30-year window where they hadn't done anything. And he came in and immediately flipped around our mindset of how you had to believe in things before they happen. I guess that's a little bit of the faith piece of, always believing in something that you are trying to do, and working at it. The faith and works.
Yeah.
And so he inspired us. We were a different team from one year to the next, to the point where my sophomore year, we finished second in the league. We lost 2 home games at the end of the year that would have given us the championship outright. So we finished second instead of first. But, you know, you always remember your first experience really winning. And I think that's what gave me confidence that this is someone I can follow that's going to help me achieve great things.
If you couldn't then, can you look back now and identify the specific things that made him a leader, that brought you to Moorhead the first time?
Sure. Well, I mean, I knew he was a winner. I mean, he'd won at Upper Iowa. He'd won at UW La Crosse. You know, he'd won at the junior college level. And so everywhere he had been, he just found a way to win. He was very direct.
Okay.
He brought the best out of you. And sometimes it was by hook or crook. Sometimes it was, you know, you'd have a triumph that he would just celebrate. You know, he also would do that. And so I think being able to feel how genuine that was, I think that was a big piece as well.
So then as you look through kind of the arc of your career, then, you know, you went across the river, you had Coach Tim and then Coach Saul and then, you know, others that obviously have mentored you along the way. What are some of the bits and pieces about that leadership that you've picked up from some of those coaches?
Yeah. First of all, Coach Miles, he was the ultimate CEO. He didn't try to do everything. He would delegate, and he would hold people accountable, and he would trust that you were going to get the job done. And that was cool because he gave you ownership in his responsibility. As there's only one person that's going to get ridiculed, you know, outside of a player that misses a shot at the end of the game, and you lose.
His name is on the program.
And I would sometimes be amazed by his trust he had in us to get things done. And so that piece for sure I took from him of like, hey, if you empower somebody to do something at a high level, they will appreciate that and they will work hard for you. And I think that Miles was really good at that. Saul played for Bo Ryan, and he clearly was a sponge the entire time. When you look at how simple he was as a basketball coach, I think that's huge. He never overcoached. He never tried to do too much. The better we got, the more simple he got. He didn't start adding more layers. I can remember going into a year, I think it was the year Ben Woodside and those guys were juniors or seniors. And I remember sitting there with Saul and him saying, I want to go through this whole year and not call a play. I just want them to play. I want to see if we can win a championship and not call a play the entire time. And he was committed to it for a long time, right? And so I think he taught me just like the simplicity of how basketball works, and I think he got that from Bo, who was a very simple coach on both ends of the floor. And, you know, just again, back to the faith in what you're doing, believing in what you're doing. I think that's what Saul, he didn't like to change. And then I had some other bosses that I really appreciated and valued. Coach Kowalczyk was the first one. This is at University of Toledo. Okay. He was very hard on us, and I appreciate him for that because he taught me what real work was. And we got baptized a little bit, all right. And he's a phenomenal coach, phenomenal guy, and a winner. But I learned what real work means, and to be able to walk into that situation and walk out of it knowing the level you have to work at to elevate. I think that's what he showed me. And then I was back with Saul, and then I was with Dane Fisher at William & Mary. He was a first-time head coach, very young. And then Ben Johnson, first-time head coach. And that, those two experiences were great for me because I got to sit there with two guys that had never been head coaches and watch them go through it. And that's helped me now because I'm taking.
That's incredible. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. And so all of their decision making, good, bad, indifferent, a lot of it good. I've been able to look at that.
You had your own front row seat to watching it.
I did. It's like looking into a mirror, and I can go back and remember all these situations. Like when an event or something comes up, I can look back on those two experiences and go, "This is what we did in that situation. And this worked. This didn't," and kind of make my decisions from there. Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing. Have you coached long enough now that you're comfortable in describing what your leadership style is?
Mm-hmm.
What is
it? First of all, I think that without true transformational relationship, you can't lead anyone. So I think that my core value is about leading with the heart. I have this mantra, and it's all about heart. And we have these silicone bands that our entire team wears, and we say one heartbeat, right? So I think
I love that.
Yeah. So I think in the acronym, just so I could explain it to you, hard work, energy, attitude, resiliency, and toughness. And that's what I try to do as a leader, but also that's what I try to instill in our players, right? I try to be the example of that, of doing everything from your heart first. I tell them oftentimes there was a time in ancient times where people thought that your thoughts came from your heart.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's a big thing of like, you've got to think rationally, but you've also got to really open up your heart and figure out where you can pull your work from in your spirit. Yeah, lead with your heart. But as far as how I lead and how my message is sent, I have 4 things I try to do every day. Number 1, right? I try to be a good person. So I'm a true believer that a team will take on the personality of a head coach.
Amen.
So I really say, be a good person. If you don't know what that means, then you need to change. Or I messed up recruiting you because I can't. You can change behaviors, but you can't change personalities. And so you got to figure out what being a good person is. The next thing, I want to be an example for them, be a good husband, be a good father, and be a good coach, meaning I don't have to scream at you to get you to do the things you need to do to be successful. I'm going to try to find a way to reach you. I think you have to be transformational. And in a world where people come and go and things are money driven, I think that's the hardest thing as a coach because, we immediately, it's hard because you go into a mindset of, well, he's going to leave anyway. So like, I don't care. Like you have to really fight to not do that. And so that, I think that's another big piece is just trying to be as transformational as possible every day in your leadership.
So I think like every leader that builds a team, I think we have archetypes of the people that we want to fill that team, right? When you go into your coaching process, I can't even imagine how different it is to recruit a kid now from 20 years. Like, you have all the data in the world at your hands now, right? I mean, so what is the difference maker between looking at that kid with the outstanding statistical stuff, but you obviously want makeup and character for your team too?
Yeah. Well, statistically, we have all these advanced analytics now where before we had a box score. He averaged 26 points a game, 12 rebounds, 8 assists.
And it was probably cut out of some community newspaper somewhere, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Now we have the why and the how. And if that why is because he took, 40 shots is the reason, or the how is he just shoots every ball. Now we can see through that, right? And so I think on the interpersonal side, it works the same way. You have to in the recruiting process, there has to be some advanced intel to try to figure out who someone is. And I tell our staff all the time, there's the science of recruiting, which is the basketball side. The numbers aren't going to change. Finding out who the people are around them and getting information to act accordingly. Who's recruiting them? When are they going on a visit there? What are his pros and cons? Does he want to be a business school guy, or does he want to be an engineer? If he's an engineer, he's not coming to MSUM. That's the science side. And then the art form of recruiting, which is figuring out who someone is. And I keep it this simple. There's 4 types of people: willing and able, unwilling and able, willing and unable, and unwilling and unable, right? The willing and able individual, if you have an abundance of those players on your team, you're going to win a national championship. And you are capable of winning a national championship. They're selfless and talented. They're willing to sacrifice, to do whatever it takes to win. They're totally bought into the plan. It's 15 guys connected on one team. That is a willing and able person, right? A unwilling and able person, right, is the talent. And I don't know what a better way to say it. The talented loser, the guy that wants to take every shot. He can't put himself aside. He can help you win on any given night because he can go get you 40, but he isn't bought into the things that he's not there to pour into others with the understanding that he's going to get something back from that process. He's just there for himself, right? Then there's the willing and unable. There's a place for that person on every team because they've got a special set of skills. One thing they can do well: he dives on the floor all the time and gets everybody energized. He waves the towel on the bench. That's the willing and unable individual. And you can have a couple of those guys, and they'll add value, but they won't change your program. And then the last one's the unwilling and unable. And that one, in the setting of trying to build an organization, a team, things of that nature, that's someone that maybe isn't going to do what you need them to do, right?
And if you're unfamiliar with like the college basketball, I suppose this would be even in high school, right? 12 guys on the bench, and just not every player sitting on that bench was recruited with the idea that they were going to be a starter, right? So you are adjusting in real time your coaching to the individual needs of 5 kids who are going to regularly start, a couple of more that are going to be your 6th and 7th guys in the rotation, and your towel waiver on the bench, right? I mean, and you're doing all of that in real time.
Yeah. I think the hardest part about coaching in today's society is your towel waiver on the bench was the best player on his high school team. And his parents told him he was the best player on his high school team. And
so does his town.
Yeah, so does his town. So do the people around him. So do his friends. So do now his AAU coaches. In some cases, when I was coaching at Minnesota, it was an agent that was trying to make sure he could elevate so that we had to pay him more money, or else I'm going to another school. And when those statistics weren't there, how do you coach that individual? And this is the hardest part about coaching in today's society with kids today, is when we walked into the room and Stu Ingen was walking in there, right? Your mindset told you, I have to do what he tells me. Now, when the coaches, the adults walk into the room, these kids say, when is this person going to betray me? that's the wall that's up. And it doesn't matter who that person is. They have no preconceived notion. They have no reason to believe that somebody is out to get them, but that's how they feel about adults in today's society. And I don't think we're doing anything to help that situation.
Yeah.
And so that's where, at the beginning of my career, the idea that the GA experience and the transformational piece and the connectivity that I just kind of ran into, I think that's helping me now. Because that's helping me quickly get that wall down so that they know, like, hey, I'm not out to get you. I want you to be successful, right? But, you know, that everybody has a role. You know, you have to do the things you need to do to be successful. It ain't all on me. I don't just make a decision to do this for you. And if it doesn't work out, it might not be because you did something wrong. It just might not be your time, right? And so, you know, being able to build a transformational relationship to get them to understand that, that's the greatest challenge. That's the greatest challenge, because you walk in the room, they don't trust you. It is what it is.
That is a crazy reflection on where we're at. Quick question about the U, and then we got to hit the family before we go, because I don't want to send you home and get you in trouble.
Yeah,
okay.
we're good. Yeah.
Just in that very brief, like 20 seconds when you're talking about coaching at the U, and I have to assume that most coaches get into this because you have a passion for it and you just love this, right? And then you get into that setting at the Division I, and all of those factors. Did that start to wear on your love of the game? Like, I can't even imagine the pressure y'all are under.
Yeah. It was weird because I could always separate the game from the business. And the business, yes, business is wild. The game was still the same. You know, the players were different. Sometimes in a good way. You know, just working with high-level athletes was fun. But, yeah, the business was different. It was. Truly was.
On the pendulum, is the love of the game and what you get back from that still worth the other side of this equation now in college coaching?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I will say this, you see some very accomplished coaches, Jay Wright, Jim Boeheim, Coach K, they just said, they could have coached till they were in the grave, and they're just like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm good. Yeah, that's a testament to somebody that powerful within a profession, just being like, this is too much. I'm good. I've done what I needed to do. I'm gonna move aside. Somebody else can do it. Tony Bennett, same thing. That says a lot about where it's at right now. But yeah, I think I'm still finding my joy. You know, so.
I can see it in your face.
Yeah.
You wear it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's fun.
So as fans come out, just the elevator pitch, like, what are we going to see for Dragons men's basketball in this first year?
Yeah. I define our style of play this way. I want to play a style that catches the eye of the neutral fan. So if someone walks in off the street and buys a ticket, and it's just like, I want to go to a basketball game. I don't feel like going over to NDSU. I live right here. Somebody from Moorhead. And they walk in to Nemzik and they watch us play. They're like, whoa, this is high octane. This is fun. And I think that's done on the offensive end. So I want to play fast in transition. I also want to play fast in the half court and get to multiple actions in a possession and have people thinking, well, how'd they draw that up? We didn't. We just taught them how to pass, how to cut, how to share the ball, how to share in each other's success. They look like they're having fun out there, right? That's who I want us to be offensively. And then defensively, we talk about that heart mantra. I want 5 guys connected. So at the end of practice, we'll either say team, we'll say Dragons when we huddle, or we'll say one heartbeat, meaning with all those people thinking and leading with their heart, that heartbeat all is one heartbeat. We're all on the same rhythm, and that's us defensively.
You're going to have to get more of those wristbands made.
We got plenty. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have a legion of fans.
We gotta make people believe in it too, So.
I just have to drop this in and no, I am not paid or compensated from MSUM, but if you have not went to an MSUM basketball game, I'm talking men, women, that atmosphere, it is like a small town community atmosphere there. The fun that the department builds around the game itself, not just the in-game stuff, but and like it really truly is like going out on a Friday night and you're hanging out with your neighbors. It's an amazing atmosphere.
Yeah, huge credit to number one to Chad Markison, his vision for what Dragon Athletics should look like, and really focusing on the Moorhead community, the Moorhead Fargo community. That's what we'll call it. And also to John Wepking, he's kind of set the bar. I mean, and that's not even kind of. He's set the bar extremely high for what a in-game environment and what a TV broadcast on NSIC network should look like. We've got other schools in our league calling him saying, "How are you doing this?" And I think that's a testament to the hard work they've put in. And to be quite honest, a situation where there's not all that much manpower. To make it look the way it looks is pretty amazing.
Well, Coach, I know that you got to run. Let's share the loved ones in your life. Who's surrounding you?
Well, my bride, my wife of 13 years, Michelle Kemp. We've known each other since she was 1 year old. I've got pictures of me at her first birthday party, playing a kazoo or something. I don't know what I was doing, but yeah, we've known each other our whole life. Our parents are friends. She ended up growing up in Florida. We were both born in Wisconsin, but she grew up in Florida. And when she came back to Wisconsin as a doctoral student, she got her doctorate in psychology, educational psych. That was when we started dating. And so there was a long gap in there between, but came full circle, and we ended up together. We have 2 kids. Violet is 10. She's in the 95th percentile in height, so she's very tall. Plays volleyball, loves the arts, acting and theater. And then my son Xander is 7 now. Loves flag football, loves basketball, plays the guitar with me. So
that's fantastic. That's beautiful. Your story is it's like a Hollywood rom-com story. Like you guys, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to be on this journey.
Did you communicate when she was in Florida and you lived in Wisconsin, or
we went to? So her father played in the NFL for 10 years. I'm sorry, for 8 years. Played 6 years with the Packers and 2 in Tampa. And so when he went to Tampa, they stayed there. So the only time I ever actually saw her, we were like 11 and 12, and we went to Disney World with them for a day. Other than that, no. Yeah, it's pretty unique story.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
My friend, so we have a tradition here that we shared with you, the acronym of light, right?
Sure.
So I'm just going to hit you with a couple of them.
Sure.
First thoughts, right?
Mm-hmm.
The I, when you and I are talking, we say it's instilling purpose and meaning in all what we do. When I hear you talk, it seems like how you drive your team. So what is instilling purpose and meaning in what we do? What does that mean to you?
In relation to just like
basketball, life, faith.
Yeah.
How important do you think that piece is instilling purpose and meaning?
Oh, yeah. I think everything. If you are anything that you're trying to achieve, you're trying to accomplish. If there's no intrinsic will to put all of your energy and your passion into it, if you can't show up every day with a great attitude about what you're doing, you're not just punching the clock, then there is no point. And so I think finding your purpose I think that's a big piece of what I try to get our guys to believe in. I think a little bit of that is as a leader trying to define with them what they're good at, as opposed to trying to tell them what they can't do. Because if we're on the same page about what you're good at, you'll want to do it all the time. Because when you fail at what you're good at, the leaders around you will have confidence that it's going to work the next time. And I think that's a big piece where coaches miss. And also a piece where in the past, that's just what you did, is you just limited people. Don't ever do this. You just do exactly what I'm telling you to do, and that's it. And I think that's the purpose piece, is helping them find their purpose within the group. It gives them a great spirit, that they can attack.
I love that. That is, you're right. I grew up playing high school sports too, right? We were told what we can't do.
Yep.
That's amazing. Okay, galvanizing gratitude. Man, this entire conversation, I know our listeners can't. You have been smiling and your eyes are sparkling. And even when you talk to me about an injury that ended your junior year, you lost basically a year of playing college basketball. You aren't regretful. You're not bitter about it. You exude gratitude. Do you know that?
There's this, I talk to our guys about all the time. There's the word kairos. It's an event. And our world's greatest philosophers, the Apostle Paul, all these people operated the same way. When things happened, they would say, why is this happening? What does it all mean? What do I do next? Right? Now, how do I take that first step? Right? And then, how do I remain resilient in the face of adversity to get to where I want to go? And then when that resiliency needs to be used, it's just keep going. I think that's what it is that understanding that every event in your life is going to lead somewhere where you're going to have clarity on why it happened. And so that's where I think that comes from. Yeah. Coach,
45 minutes in, you've earned my utmost admiration. I can't wait to come out and watch you play this year, watch that team, and just thank you for making time. I'm so grateful. Thanks for coming back to Moorhead too.
Oh yeah. It's we've always said it's our second home. I spent 8 years here. My wife spent 2 years, and we're coming back to some great friends. Me, I was in Dave Richmond's wedding. Tim Polasek and me and his wife Jill and my wife Michelle are all good friends. So this is it's coming back to a familiar place. So excited.
All right. We're going to see you out at Nemzik.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yep. Oh.
Today's college sporting world is about going big. Big arenas, big money, and some would say big ego. But there's also a lot of adoration and notoriety in the big-time college coaching ranks. So why, you might ask, did Minnesota State University Moorhead men's basketball head coach Jason Kemp make the decision to come back to coach the Dragons in a less celebrated college division? Values. He came back to coach with his set of values and to work with a set of athletes who think more about the team than they do themselves. This former Division III basketball player himself knows a bit about small college ball, and there was a list of coaches who poured into him along his playing days and undergraduate coaching journey. And he's now very excited to be able to take those lessons and implement them in his own program, on his own terms, with a group of athletes who maybe aren't as jaded and inwardly focused as the long fussed about athletes of D1 programs. Money and resources aren't everything, Coach Kemp says about coaching in the biggest spotlight, and he's ready to bring that countercultural attitude to a historically successful MSUM program. And he says that since changes like NIL money have impacted the game's highest echelons, the idea of coaching at a different level is refreshing. Listen to Coach Kemp talk about his coaching philosophies, and it doesn't take long to begin to admire this principled and passionate leader who wants to help shape the character of his young college charges. In a world that tells his players to chase individuality, Coach Kemp teaches them to possess, quote, one heartbeat, unquote. With a focus on building transformational relationships with his players, both to get them to perform on the court, but off the court as well. Coach Kemp is the kind of coach you want for your own young athletes, as well as for the game. This is Pastor Devlin Brooks of Churches United on the DMF podcast series, Lead with Light. Remember, we are all called to serve by seeing light, being light, and spreading light. Amen.